I work for Vectra Bank, Colorado, which is a community bank. And we serve our clients and build communities. So in essence, we are a steward of public funds and savings. So we take in dollars and we keep them safe, and we lend them to individuals and businesses to buy cars, send their kids to college, build buildings, purchase companies, that sort of thing. I am a commercial banker or a relationship manager at Vectra Bank. And so I get to work with a variety of for-profit and nonprofit companies in a slew of different industries. I have been in banking for about 15 plus years. And as to how long I've been doing what I do now, I'd kind of stretch my gig before banking a little bit into this career, maybe tangentially, but before banking, I was an admissions counselor for a public college in Massachusetts. And I didn't know it at the time, but it's sales. I drove around the Northeast and told students, high school students, about the value of education and specifically about the value of the college I was working for. So it's sales, and it's similar to what I do today and part of my responsibility at Vectra. And I can tell you what I learned before I got into banking, that in order to be successful at sales, I needed to believe in what I was saying and believe in the value proposition I was presenting. I think you can take a variety of career paths to be successful in banking. You can go to college, you can go to university, you can go to a trade school. I have a bachelor's in economics, I've got an MBA, I've got a master's in banking and a few other certificates. But I think more importantly, education and being in a setting where you're allowed to learn is probably the most important. So yes, math is important, English is important, you need to be able to communicate clearly, written and verbally, but you also need to be able to play well in the sandbox. And I think that outside of academics, you know, the core classes in high school, it's important to find something to be a part of because Vectra Bank or another institution is really about being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And so you may learn the fine statistics in math, but you may learn in another extracurricular activity how to be part of something bigger than yourself. The favorite part of my job at Vectra Bank is probably being an agent for growth and change. I work with a lot of different really interesting companies and industries. I work with companies that build bridges and pave highways. I work with companies that sell widgets on e-commerce platforms like Amazon. I work with companies that manufacture hiking shoes. So every day is a little bit different, and I work with a lot of great people, both outside the bank serving our clients, as well as internally here at Vectra Bank. Banking is a dinosaur of an industry. I think the first bank was started in like 1790 in Philadelphia. So banking's been around for a very long time. With that said, you know, there's lots of it that hasn't changed. Again, we take in deposits, we keep them safe, and we lend them out and try to mitigate risk. But the parts of banking that have changed quite a bit is, you know, all the details of the economy that we see changing today. So when I first started banking, you know, Amazon sold books. They weren't selling clothes and other items. There was no gig economy to be a part of and to think about, you know, capital solutions for. So I would say, as it is a very old industry, it's also an industry that, you know, as our economy changes and as people learn different ways to make money. There was no such thing as an influencer when I was first in banking. Kind of the world around banking changes, and that's a pretty exciting thing to be a part of. So a typical workday for me as a commercial banker with Vectra Bank I think can be split into kind of two separate categories. One is the perhaps more technical side of banking, thinking about cash balances, overdrafts, wires that need to go out, thinking about different liquidity instruments, really the sort of fine, detailed side of banking. And then the other side of banking that, I would explain in my day-to-day activities is thinking about the economy and different industries and how better to serve our clients and our communities. So I have clients, both for-profit and nonprofit, in healthcare industries that serve our communities. And so how has COVID been impacting their industry? They've seen a major disruption here over the last 7 months. How can we as bankers serve them more fully? I have clients in manufacturing that has had quite a ride over the last 12 months, from trade embargoes to COVID to supply chain disruptions. So much of my day is thinking about my client base, what industries they represent, what are their 3 to 5 year plans, and how do I provide value as a commercial banker and as a steward of Vectra Bank. I can tell you probably the most challenging part of my job is that my dollar at Vectra Bank holds the same value as the dollar bill at ABC Bank down the road. And so I have learned over my career, both at Vectra as well as in banking, that it's not about the dollar, it is about the relationship and about the trust that you build around that. In thinking about advice that I would give an 8th grade student, there are probably 2 things. One is that I think the more vulnerable you can be with your education in asking good questions, in being curious about learning about whatever is in front of you, I think that'll serve you well in the long run. And then the other aspect is that you can't do it alone. And so I can tell you for my career, I've been served very well by surrounding myself with people who are much smarter than I am, but who also commit to kind of a mutual partnership. I work hard and we build something together. And so you cannot do it alone, and you do need a community to support you grow, both through high school as well as through college, whatever leads after that in your career. So the best career advice I've ever received is to be an agent of change and growth. You have to act the solution. And I think the more authentically you can do that, the better off you'll be. My favorite part about working for Vectra and being a part of Team Vectra is that ultimately every day I'm an ambassador for a company and a group of people that I really care about. I go to work every day to be a part of my teammates and to right now virtually see the members of Vectra Bank who work here. We have an incredible team. We have a lot of fun. And I can tell you that our leadership, I think, helps us every day be a part of something bigger than Vectra Bank. And I think that's inspiring and something I want to be a part of.